Hi guys, and welcome to Just Make It Functional, a channel where things don't have to be perfect, they just have to work. We're going to make some floating shelves at no additional cost to myself since I already had materials laying around. First I gotta clean up some of this space so I can work in it. This is Odie. He just steals trash from the garage and takes it out in the yard. So there was a non-functional shelving unit that I tore down, and this is me tearing that apart so I can reuse the lumber. This unit was very large and took up a lot of space and did not allow me to occupy much of the shelves, while taking up a massive amount of floor space. I don't use this tool much, but it sure comes in handy when it's needed. So I started by cutting out a section of drywall to fit up some backing plate where the shelves are going to hang on. Everybody's going to have different size criteria, so just figure out how big you want that to be. I'll show you a little later when I'm doing the bottom shelves how to cut that out. My goal was to use all the screws from the old shelving unit as well, but they were Phillips head and they kept rounding out and snapping. So I switched over to some construction screws with Torx heads, and it made the job way easier. So the next step is to cut out some arms to make the depth of the shelves. I wanted mine 16.5 inches to make a total depth of 19 inches, factoring in the front plate and the back plate widths. And the closer you put them together, the more weight you're going to be able to hold. So I went 12 inches apart for these arms. Putting these arms up wasn't the most fun process. It was a lot of trial and error trying to get them flush with the top and bottom. I found it was easier to start the screws in the boards before I put them up. Had to remove and recut that one because it was half an inch too short. Next we're going to cut the front plate to length and screw that on, and then we'll put the arms on the opposite wall. Then the other front plate gets cut and installed, and it's actually starting to look like a shelf. Now that that's done, we got to do the same thing to the bottom. So I like to use my leveling laser, and I don't have a lot of fancy stuff laying around, so I use a extension painter's pole and attach it to that. So figure out however high you want your shelves off the ground, and then start cutting out some drywall with an oscillating tool or whatever tool you'd like to cut that drywall out with. Make sure it's level though. I didn't take quite enough drywall out, so I had to take a little more out. So just screw those back plates in place and repeat the process that you did on the top shelf, if you're doing 2 shelves. I was definitely happy with the way they were coming out. So this is the leftover plywood I had from the initial shelving unit that I tore down, and I'm going to cut that up to make the shelving surface. Don't know where my chalk line is, so I'm just going to measure it out and take a straight edge and draw a straight line. So for this wall, I was able to cut out nice long sheets of plywood. For the other wall though, I had to piece it out and make it work in order to keep this a free build. So I definitely wouldn't recommend this, but at least I know I can hold my body weight, so I'm crawling up on the top shelf to screw the plywood down. So there you go, some finished shelves, completely functional. Only took me about a day and didn't cost me any money. So you guys take care, and thanks for watching my first episode. I'll be putting out a lot more because I'm always doing something and I like to save money.